Hi there, I'm Elizabeth with Ellie's Handcrafted Jewelry, and welcome back to my channel where I share tips, tricks, and tutorials for those looking to learn the art of wire wrapping and wire weaving. Now, this has been a highly demanded tutorial, and it is for prong settings. And I know that you guys have seen in some of my written tutorials, as well as some of the pieces that I've made in the past, you see a lot of the prong settings that I use, and I've had a lot of people asking as far as learning how to do that. And sometimes written tutorials are difficult because you see it, but you can't imagine necessarily how to get to that point. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to do a prong setting, so that way you are set up for success. And I'll also show you some examples as far as what you can do with the prong settings once you create it. So let's go ahead and jump into the video.
But before we get started, I'd like to thank Kazdance for sponsoring this video. Kazdance is a gem seller located in the United States and has a variety of high-quality stones. Search by gemstone, shape, size, quality, and more to find the perfect stone for your project. I've left a link in the description below to their website as well as their Facebook page so that you can stay up to date on any new arrivals or sales.
Alright, so for tools and materials with a prong setting, you're going to need a piece of 20 gauge wire or 22 gauge wire. It really depends on the size of the stone you're setting. In this case, I'm setting a 6mm cubic zirconia. I'll leave some links in the description where you can get some really pretty sparkly cubic zirconia. So we're going to take our piece of wire, but this is a 20 gauge wire. For tools, you're going to need some flat nose or chain nose pliers. I'm actually going to grab my chain nose pliers, which are over here. And of course, you'll need flush cutters. The other thing you will probably need is a ruler. Make sure that you have one that has centimeters. I don't know one that doesn't, but just in case. You can also use calipers if you have them. These are my calipers. These are really nice calipers that I got on Amazon. If you're going to be doing a lot of prong settings, or you even plan on doing metal smithing, highly recommend getting one. I'll leave a link in the description where I got this one specifically. It does really well. It's not digital, which I like because then I don't have to worry about batteries. The batteries might last a long time, but I'm paranoid, so this is the one that I have. And now what you're going to do is you're going to actually stick this in the caliper to determine the height of the stone. And so mine's already set, and I got it tightened so it's locked into that set. And then what I'm going to do is grab my wire here, if I can grab it. Just get this out of the way for a second, and I'm going to basically bend my wire in half. Well, more like a third, I suppose. And I'm going to compress that wire. And I'm going to use my caliper to figure out where my stone is. And you want to make sure that there's about a little bit of a gap. Now, it's going to be open a little bit at the bottom, and I'll show you what I mean. So I usually, some people will actually measure a little bit more, but mine tends to be about the same size or a little bit longer than the stone. So I'm holding that in place so I know where it is. You can also mark it if you want. Now I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers, bend the wire up. Oops. There we go. Spin the wire up like that, and I'm going to measure this against my caliper, see where I'm at. And it's about the size of the stone, which is what I want. And I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. If you want, you can use your chain nose pliers, you get a little bit more control as well. Spinning this over, rolling this up a little bit so they're about the same size. So compressing that wire like so. I'm going to do one more. I usually do 3 prongs, but you can do more or less. Just making sure that the spacing is even. And just take your time and don't get too frustrated with it. Now just creating the other prong. Oops. Like so. So now I have my prongs. And usually what I do at this point is I'll go ahead and create the tip of the prong. So I'm going to bend just the tip inward. Do the same over here. Pressing it in against my finger. Pulling or twisting slightly with my flat nose pliers. So that way I get these. So you want to have a little bit of a curve there. Now what I'm going to do, with my calipers out of the way, is I'm actually going to bend the longer wire straight forward like that and begin rolling these into each other. So you can see I'm twisting just slightly with here, so trying to get them to come together. Now I'm going to begin wrapping this wire that's straight out around the other wire. Once it's wrapped together, you can begin to open it up. Adjust the prongs if you need to. So there's our setting, and I'm going to open that up a little bit more because this is a 6mm stone I'm setting. And stick our stone in there. Now this is where it gets really fiddly. So I have it just sitting in there, and you can see the prongs are just outside, and that's okay. So now I'm going to start gently compressing that in and using the side of my pliers to push the prongs over the top of the stone. Very, very gently. And sometimes you might have to adjust the prong if it's off just slightly. Being very gentle as you go, because you also, some stones are softer too. So if you're not using cubic zirconia, it could be very soft. So just be very careful as you go. And you can see it doesn't move anymore, so that's a good sign. I'm just going to continue doing that a little bit. Now if your prongs go off center a little bit, you can easily scoot them around by squeezing them just very gently to move the prong setting, but mine are pretty evenly spaced, so I'm really happy with that. So that's a prong setting for you. Now here are some examples. I'm going to do a little bit of a montage here to show you some examples. You can weave it into your bales. You can place it as little accent pieces, like if you're doing a frame piece like this Audra pendant. This is the primary one that people were asking me about. You can put them just about anywhere. Even in like your chaos weaving or your chaos wrapping, you can stick them in the swirls and loops in there to add some extra sparkle. So there's a lot of ways that you can use these prong settings. You can even make studs out of them, although they're not always the best for studs, just because they can get fiddly over time and then fall out of their setting. So you just want to be very intentional about where you place them and make sure that your prongs are properly fit. But that is how you do a prong setting. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below as I try to get to them as quickly as I can. You're also welcome to leave suggestions down there as far as what you want to see in the next video. So give me some more ideas so I can continue creating content for all of you. You're also welcome to join the Learn to Weave newsletter. I got some things that are coming up. It's the holiday season, so just trying to keep you in the loop as far as what's going on around here. And of course, I want to remind you about the Artisan Tutorial Vault. Now, I'm super proud of this project that I have done because sometimes it gets a little expensive buying tutorial to tutorial to tutorial. Say that 10 times fast. And so I created the Artisan Tutorial Vault so that way you have access to all of my available tutorials for the price of one per month. So if you want to learn more about that, link is in the description. And not only do you have access to all available tutorials, any upcoming tutorials or any new tutorials will be automatically added to the vault. Again, there is a link in the description to check that out and learn more. And until next time, happy weaving.